All right. So good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? So tonight, I wanted to talk about some stuff. Originally, my intention was to jump into the buyer broker and start really start breaking that apart. Unfortunately, there were some more changes that were put out over the last couple of days. So we're going to pump the brakes on that for a minute. Okay. And we're going to concentrate on provide value, and then also I want to go into CMAs a little bit to discuss that. Right. Jennifer, you were just talking about a listing appointment that you went on, and unfortunately it was going very good until all of a sudden they started to try and bring down the price, and his rationale was based on, well, because he lives in Alabama, that's what they do in Alabama. Okay. You're not in Alabama. You're in a completely different market. Okay. There's things here that don't happen in Alabama. I don't know much about Alabama, right? What I know is Florida, right? And we're all part of, these large brokerages that have the reach that I don't know who you're dealing with in Alabama, but you may not have that reach. Okay. So we have to know the value that we bring to this. Does that make sense? Now, we've talked about this before and identifying your personal value, but I know that for all of us, right? Sometimes it's hard to, to put that out there because it's kind of like, a little bit of bragging. You don't want to sound like you're too full of yourself, but you know what? I know what I bring to the table, right? And like I've said, I also know what I don't bring to the table. Okay. If I have a buyer that is coming to me that says, I want you, actually, I just had one. Hey, Chris, we're thinking about getting pre-approved. We were hoping that you would show us around this weekend. Show us around? What am I, a tour guide? No, I'm not showing you around. Here's what I will do. And of course I got to change the verbiage a little bit, but what I did was they were looking at a few different towns between Port St. Lucie, Vero, and Melbourne. They wanted me to drive them to all so that they could look at houses, and they're not pre-approved. Here's what I will do. I will send you a map. And what I do is I send a map of like a Google map with the different spots on the on the map marked off. And then I send them corresponding searches for each area. And I'll tell them, hey, listen, go check this out. And here's what, X amount of dollars gets you in this area. Here's what X amount of dollars gets you in this area. And here's what X amount gets you in this area. So this way you can see the comparison. Now, what you do is this weekend, take a ride up, up the coast. And I might even, point out some places I want them to see, right? Because we know that Florida is about the lifestyle, right? Right. Each one of us is in a different part of Florida, right? Not a bad thing, right? But it's different personality, right? Daniel, you're down there in Naples, right? Have you been in the Vero Beach area?
No.
All right. Well, I know you go back and forth between Naples and Miami. Right? Is there a difference in the personalities between Naples and Miami?
Yep, a lot.
100%. Right? It's night and day. Right? So it's it's about the lifestyle. So I'm not going to take my time because I know my value is not as a tour guide. Can we agree on that? If I wanted to do that, I go sign up for Uber. And I get charged, I charge them by the mile. Okay. But we need to know our value. All right. And this is going to be really super critical. All right. It's super critical now, but it is super, super, super critical as there's more and more stuff surfacing about these lawsuits and more agents that are going out there. And like I've said it before, we are our own worst enemy. We have agents in the industry that are saying, oh, you don't have to pay the buyer's commission. Why would you say that? That's not what it says. It's never said, it's never been mandatory for you to pay a buyer's commission. Never. right? It's on the listing agreement. It has always been. Every one of you went through the real estate school. Every one of you knows that it's always been negotiable. So why do we change our value based on a lawsuit or whatever? Because people get scared and they're afraid of getting sued, right? They hear numbers, 400 million, 800 million, whatever, whatever it is. I don't want to be part of that. No. But like I had a conversation with, I forget who I had a conversation with today, but we were talking about, actually it was Lauren, right? Because there was an issue on one of her contracts. And I said, look, it's not a big deal. She was concerned because the earnest money hadn't gotten in quite on time. They were a day late getting earnest money in, right? The buyers. And, yes, are they in breach of contract? Yeah. But if the buyer and seller agree that everything is good and we roll on, does that really cause a problem? No, no. We have the cancellation dates on the contract, right? Or the acceptance dates, rather, right? A lot of times, people will put 2 days to have a contract accepted. Every now and then, I'll get a contract, at noon or 1 o'clock, and the expiration says 5 p.m. today, right? What are you doing, right? Even if that is the only offer on the table, I'm not getting it back to you at 5 p.m. today, because as a good listing agent, I'm vetting that offer, right? I'm calling the lender to make sure that the lender answers the phone and that they have all the financials, right? So 5 o'clock today, and then I got to present it to my client once I've done that, and then do the net sheets, then present it to my client. And if we got to do a counter, we got to get back to you. 4 hours is not enough, right? But unfortunately, and I know Heather, she just dealt with one that was an aggressive agent, right? Just because you want to call me and yell and scream, that doesn't mean it's going to change the way I do business. Right. But it's super, super important for you to know your value. Does that make sense? Any thoughts on that? Does anybody have any fears with this lawsuit? I know we're talking a lot about it, but does anybody have any fears when it comes to this? Or maybe not fears. What's your thoughts on the lawsuit? Daniel, I see you making gestures. What are you thinking?
No, to me, it just changes. I mean, everything changing life. So, I mean, to me, it's another change. I mean, I'm just coming in as a realtor right now. So to me, it's not a big difference. I
Okay.
have to get used to it. So, I don't see it as a, I mean, some other realtors that have more time, maybe they might, because they get used to do things one way. And when things change, people have reactions to change. So it's completely normal. But for me, it's something new. So I don't see it as a big thing.
Okay, perfect. And I want to say congratulations to Daniel. He's got his first listing. It'll be signed by tomorrow. So awesome. Let's get that one done. And that'll be a nice little property. We'll send it out to everybody down in the Everglades City. So let's get that one out to the world and get that one sold as fast as possible.
Yes, sir.
Sound good?
Yep.
Um, Jennifer, what about you? What are your thoughts on this lawsuit? Any fears? Happy, plus, minus? What do you think?
I think it's great. I think anything that makes other people follow the rules is great.
Okay. Yeah, I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you. In Maryland, I got, and I know Heather will attest to this. I think our average contract was right around 65 pages, right? By the time, maybe a little less, whatever, but it was close to there. It was, but they were clear. Everything was written out, right? And when I got down here, I mean, to realize that we could get everything done in 4 pages, it leaves a lot of room for some issues. So I think, yeah, Jennifer, I think you're right on the money with that. That it will clean up a lot of stuff for us in the industry. Martha, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I like the fact that they're requiring everybody to do a buyer broker agreement, because I know earlier on people would they'd say they're working with you, and then the next thing you know, they're buying with somebody else because they didn't think that you were showing them enough stuff. So I like what they're doing.
Yeah, folks, it gives you the tools to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Right. You know, when you see somebody boxing, right, you don't see the coach say, for this fight, you got to drop your arms and let them swing at you. That's not the case. You want to be able to protect yourself, and that's what it's about. Okay. So, and we'll be going into, we're going to do just like we've done with all the other contracts and listings. We will be, once the final stuff is out, we will dissect it paragraph by paragraph to make sure everybody has a strong understanding of it all. Okay. Because these contracts, these buyer agreements, these the listings, and the buyer's contracts, these are tools, but these are super, super powerful tools that we get to do all sorts of really cool things. We get to negotiate some really great terms for our clients, right? Or, and use them to our advantage if we know how to utilize the different fields in the contract. So I like it. Anybody else have any thoughts on it? Has anybody?
I think that we'll run up to a few of these when you co-broke with somebody, the other party not having any clue what's really going on and how to do it.
I'm sorry, you said that somebody doesn't have a clue?
I think there's so much garbage on social media and everything about it, and I think that we're going to deal with some realtors and maybe even some brokers that really don't even understand what it is and how to actually do it. And then I think it's going to eventually cause us. I mean, we'll make it through every deal, but you're going to be running into some headaches through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of ignorant people out there. Like I've said, when I bought my house here, right, I wanted to use my VA loan since that was my right that I've earned. Okay. I bought the house that I'm in right now with a VA loan, and I negotiated a great deal on it. I got they redid the stuff for the septic system. They replaced the electrical panel and paid all my closing costs. It was a beautiful thing, but it took a lot for me to get there because the listing agent was actually a broker, and he's been at that point he had been in the business for 23 years and had never done a VA loan. I don't see how that happened, but you know what? I mean, I'm not going to slight him for for working with cash and conventional, but if you walk away from and I don't know if he walked away because he didn't want to do it, but I mean, having the knowledge of what these programs are and how to utilize them, you have to know it. Now, I know for some of you guys are getting started, and maybe you haven't done a VA loan or an FHA loan. That's okay, right? That's why we have this group here. That's why we have all the support on the team. If you don't know something, we get it done, right? Because if we don't know it here, we know people that will have the right answer, right? And that's why we partner with the lenders that we do, right? I was approached about a loan product, and I think I told you guys it was less than a year ago by somebody that I know is quite intelligent. So when he came to me with this loan product that he wanted to utilize, and it was for an investment property, it sounded crazy, right? It sounded crazy. I was like, that's not a real thing. And sure as anything, when I looked it up, it was a real thing. Right. And I don't want to go into the details because I don't want to confuse anybody, because I've been doing this for a long time, and that's the one and only time I've ever seen it. So the chance of you guys seeing it is highly unlikely. But, I had to go do some checking on it. Right. So we have to know our value. Right. Our value is in the strength that we have. If you're a newer agent and you have more time, part of your strength is, hey, listen, I'm going to dedicate my time to finding you the perfect home, right? If you're more seasoned, or in my case, where I'm also running the team and I have a lot of other obligations, I don't have the time to sit on every hand holding thing, right? So I know where my weaknesses are too, but you need to know where your strengths lie, right? Daniel, Naples and Miami, right, extremely well, but you already admitted you don't know Vero Beach, right? So probably wouldn't be a good idea for you, to jump over here and try and figure out Vero Beach. I mean, if you have a $5 million client, then maybe it makes sense, right? And because we have the assistance for you. But if it's a $250,000 client or a $300,000 client, makes sense just to do the referral, right? Because you have a strong, support system. Makes sense? Any thoughts on that, Elisa?
I think this will be much more clear industry. So now we'll have more people who do this not like a hobby, because they will just go out, first thing. The other thing, if let's imagine the story that everybody pay their own commission, the buyer side, seller side. But when we go into the lawyer, for example, when we're trying to make a deal or we trying to, for example, the divorce, everybody pay by their own side and want to be represented as best possible lawyer in this case to get the better deal. So the real estate, if somebody, we as realtors, we protect the interests of our clients. So that is why, anyway, we need to, that's a job and that will be job paid. So that's not a hobby. So this clear the industry. And I think then some point people just will used to it. Everybody remember when interest rate was 2.5, but also people remember when interest rate was 18. In some point, the buyers who buy with 2 point whatever interest rate, they will be gone. They already buy their houses, and everybody else will be okay buying with 5, 7, whatever percent. People will go into the market, rules change, people will used to it. In the 12 months, we'll even stop to talk about this. Everybody will used to the change. And those who gone will clear the market and we have more clients. I think that's a good thing. And have their actual agreement, that's the best thing ever. And now when the client also have an agreement, so I'm representing you and that is clear.
Absolutely. It's going to clear up. And that does bring up a good point too. I know we talked about the guy from Alabama, but if people coming from different states, different countries, they have different rules. So we just have to educate them on what we have here, and how it works here. So that's always been part of our job, is to educate. Sound good? Now, anybody have any thoughts on that before we move on? All right. I wanted to spend a little time tonight also talking about doing CMAs. Why is it important to do a CMA? And do we do a CMA for a buyer or a seller?
Both.
Both. Oh, sorry.
100%. But we're not pricing, we're not putting the home on the market for the listing for the buyer. So why would it be important for a buyer for us to do a CMA for them?
He has to trust you that he's not being overcharged, or he's moving into a house that is way, way overpriced. The CMA lets him know that.
Yeah, 100%. It empowers your clients to make an informed decision. Okay. I mean, it's all going to be part of it. And that'll be something else that comes up with this whole new system, is that as we change the system, there will be a change in the appraisal. I'm sure that they will take that into account. Who's paying what? They already do. Right. So it is super, super important. Has anybody here not completed a CMA yet? Anybody that is struggling with CMAs? Okay. All right. So a CMA is a comparative market analysis, right? It is not something to be afraid of. Now, in the event, we're not going to talk about for right now, we're not going to talk about, 45 acres with a concrete structure, home structure. That's a unique property. That's something for later on. But for right now, let's just talk about a standard home. Okay. So when we do this, I'm just going to run through this real quick to give you guys a quick overview of how we do this. All right. And then we'll circle back around. So in the event that we have this a CMA that we're going to start, we can do it one of two ways. Now, right now, I'm in a matrix system. I know some of you guys are on Bright, some of you guys are in Flex. The premise is all the same. Okay, it might look a little different on your screen, but it's going to be relatively the same. You just have to look into your system. And if you're struggling with your system, please let me know so we can get, some one-on-one time to make sure that you have it right. And even if you're in Matrix, but not in Indian River, it may be a little bit different inside your Matrix. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to do one of a couple things. You can either go over here to My Matrix and go to My CMAs, or you can start the other way and start with the search. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and go into CMAs. All right. And you will see yours that you have here. Now you can start a new CMA. Okay. So for this one here, I'm going to go ahead and create my new contact and test. And this is going to be seller. All right. Now, if you guys don't have it, I always have an old email address that I use for anything that I don't want to go out, because it will make you put one in. And then high test, right? So we're going to pick our property, right? Now you'll see that in most of the MLSs, there's a progression bar, and you'll see that it's already saved. Okay. So it's not something you guys got to stress about. It's going to be super simple. Look, we got 30 minutes left and we're going to knock this thing out, right? So the pages, now you should have already in your MLS set up your signature, right? Take some time to go through all that stuff. Once you do that, right, we're going to come into our pages. Now you'll see I have pre-selected my cover sheet with a photo, my summary list, my price adjustments, minimum, maximum, price recommendation, guarantee to you, effective overpricing, benefits of using a realtor, pitfalls of overpricing, and the CMA map. Okay. And I like to do this because there's a whole bunch of available pages over here. I don't want to overwhelm them. This for me generally is sufficient. Now you might want to go through here and see what else is in there, because maybe for a particular property, your client needs something specific. But for right now, this is my defaults. Once you do it, you set it as default, and then you go from there. Okay. Now we got to figure out our subject property. Okay. So what we're going to do is we can pick out from a couple of different ways. If there's a former MLS that we have, we can use the MLS number. Cross property. For right now, I'm going to go to the real list tax data. And we're going to do Stony. Okay. And I know this particular property is in Indian River County. So once I do this, all right, it's going to show, and here's my property, right? I verify there's my seller. It's in Sebastian, Stony Point Drive. That's the one I'm looking for. I did one yesterday, and the guy, his name is on 71 different parcels of property, totaling 150 lots. So I would have to be much more specific on that one. Right now, one property, I'm going to fill from the selected. Okay, it's thinking. I don't know why it's running slow. Okay. Now, normally I would take time and go get a picture. For our purposes today, I'm going to overlook this, but but please put a picture here. Don't leave the no picture available if you're presenting this to a client. You're going to go ahead and see, you know, because I pulled it off the tax records and this one hadn't been on the market for a long time, this information is not here. So I want to make sure I update this. I'm going to go right down the list. Okay. I'm going to change this to Sebastian, Florida, Indian River Shores. Okay. Property type. Now, once you've done a couple of them, it will try and autofill them. So single family, right? Single family residential, beds total 4, bathrooms. This one's 2, right? And then this one was, if I remember correctly, 2004, I believe. Construction CBS, that's an important one here, right? Heating central, cooling central, garage 2, and it does have a pool. Okay, and it is waterfront. It's on a lake. Okay, so you'll see it automatically filled our square footage, which I know is accurate. Okay, we will locate it on the map. Again, we'll just put it in here, 116 Stony Point Drive. Okay, we're going to locate it. All right, now we want this because this is going to use the mapping feature, right? That didn't take too long, right? Now, I understand you guys might have to look up some of this information, and that's fine. As you get going with it, it will get a little bit easier, okay? From here, what we've filled out as much as we possibly can. We're going to go to the cover, okay? And then, you know, you'll see the picture would pop up here. You'll see my signature is already in place, and then we're going to go ahead and put the address. Now, if they live in the house, same address. If they live someplace else, you may want to, you know, put the other one. But I usually put the property address. All right, and if you have the phone number, you can put that in as well. And you'll see at the end how this makes it look nice and pretty. All right, comparables. Now I want to add from listings. So now I already know that I need to look up here, right? 116 Stony Point. Now, this one, the reason why I chose this property to show you, okay. Oh, crap. Where'd it go? All right. Why is this not selecting? What am I doing here?
Did you break it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, that is the house. So I'm actually looking at it, pulled it up on the map. There's the house. And for whatever reason, oh, that kicked you guys off. Let me go back to the matrix. For whatever reason, it's not allowing me to check the map. Okay, so it is what it is, or at least not locate it like that. I know where this thing is now. It's in Sebastian. Now, the reason why I chose this lot, what we have here is this area here is the, oh crap. All right, can you see the map now? All right, so this is the Sebastian Highlands. No HOA, nice little community to live in. This is Vero Lake Estates. Okay. This is, it's public water and septic. This is well and septic. Okay. This technically has a debunked HOA. All right. So there's really nothing to worry about there. There's also dirt roads in here. Okay. This is no HOA, no covenants, no restrictions, whatever. This is Indian River Shores, Indian River Landing right here. Okay. This is an HOA community. All right. And as you look at it, let me open this up a little bit more. As you look at this, okay, you'll see if you look at the front, all right, you're going to see that there's a clubhouse, a pool, we have tennis courts, we have a basketball court. Okay. So this is, I want to show this to you because this is very different than the other homes here that no HOA. Can we agree on that? So in this case, I'm going to select to draw the polygon because I want to try and go to this community first. All of the homes in this community were built in the early 2000s. So my timing is going to be very similar on this, and any home in here should be comparable. So I'm going to go ahead and draw, right, with the polygon around this. And I'm going to try here, hopefully first, to find my comps. Okay. So now, the map area is selected. Okay. So we got that. And now we got.
You stopped sharing the screen again.
All right, sorry. Let's do it this way so it stops doing that for me. And all right, so now I got the window, so it shouldn't kick you guys off anymore. All right, so now we come back to here. No, the map went away. So the map area is selected. Now it's running in the background. Okay, and that's why I selected that and it's gone, right? So at this point, now we just need the comps. So we know we need our actives, and even, you know, for right now, the backups, and you'll see 8 matches. Okay. I also want my solds and also my expireds, right? In a perfect world, I want 3 active, 3 sold, and 3 expireds. Why would active be so important?
So you'll know what you're going up against, what's on the
Yeah.
market.
Absolutely. That's our competition, right?
Right.
Why would solds be important?
It
Final
gives you
transaction.
the what? Oh, go ahead, Monica.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a final transaction. That's actually what it sold for. So that's what the buyers was willing to pay.
That's what those buyers are willing to pay. Yes, and it is a good indicator. But the thing about it is those houses and those buyers are off the market. So yes, it kind of sets that precedence, but we also have to be aware that they are no longer in the market. Make sense? Now, why would expired, and other than Monica, why are expireds important?
Unsuccessful listings.
Yeah, but why are they unsuccessful?
Because the price wasn't right.
Yeah, most
It
likely
could be
price, you know,
mirroring.
and there may be other factors in there, but definitely something we want to be aware of. Okay, makes sense so far. All right, now Monica, you're back in. I just want to give them a chance for the one question. All right, I might check some of the other stuff just to make sure. You'll see right now I'm looking at 18 matches, and I might want to just, you know, add a couple more things, detached, right? You'll see it's still the same. Actually, that concerns me. That's showing that one is attached in that community. And I also want to get rid of any 2 stories. So let's go with 1 story, because we know 2 stories aren't comparable to 1 stories, right? So right now we're down to 14 matches. This is a good place to start. Okay. Now keep in mind, we got the 4 bedrooms, 2 bath with a pool. Now, the what we have is we have the fact that also the square footage, which was at 2150. So keep that in mind. And all the houses should be close on the year built, because they were all built around the same time. And it's in the same community, so that portion should be easy, and they're definitely within the area. So we're going to see, as soon as I open this up, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 actives with 1 backup. Oh, actually, they're mixed up here. So 1, 4, 5, 6, 6 actives. So there's a lot, you know, there's a decent amount of competition in there. Okay, we have 1 backup, 1 expired, and then we have, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sold. So even though we have, our even though we have those, the competition, they're still selling. Can we agree on that? So it's almost 50-50. So what we're going to do is from here, we're going to open this up. Now you'll see that we have a 4-2, right? You'll see we have a few 4-2s in here, right? But look, also too, something I want to pay attention to. We're at 2150. If I include a 1,600 square foot house in the CMA for my client, they're going to be pissed because it's not comparable. Okay. But we want to make sure. So we're going to go through here. We're going to take a look at it. This one here, you can even map it out. There's a mapping feature, and this is not showing you the map, I guess. But it's in the same, right in the same section of the, as the other one. Right. What I want to do is I want to take a look at the pictures, right? Right off the bat, right? You saw the other one was on the water. So we have a lanai. It's nothing like the other one for right now. I know I didn't show you the pictures of the other house, but you'll have to take my, actually, let me just show it to you real quick. So you'll see on this house, right? Right out the gate, here's the subject property. Okay. Just to give you a quick overview of this one. All right. Shows well. Pictures were just done. Right. It's fixed up nicely decorated. Granite countertops. Okay. White. It does have white appliances, but I want to get to the pool real quick. You see the hard look, saltwater pool. Look at the view. Okay. Now let's go back to this one. Is this a similar backyard? No, it's not. Okay. So we need to pay attention to that because this one is active at 345. Okay. It is a 4-2. It's 200 square feet smaller, similar year, 04 to 06. That's comparable. Ultimately, this one is not going to be really comparable, but for our purposes today and time, I'm going to go ahead and select it just so you can see how this plays out. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. This one here, 2670. It's a little bit bigger. Okay, 3-2. We're going to go ahead and look at this one. It shows pretty decent. Older cabinets, stainless steel appliances, granite. So it's okay. We still got the Formica like the other one. We have a cage, but still no view of the water, no pool. Okay. So that is going to play a little bit of a part. Again, for right now, I'll put it in there. I can always delete it later. Here's one active 445, 1744. Now, here's my danger zone, right, guys? We've got 113 days collectively on the market. All right. I want to make sure I'm watching that because, this may or may not be the right home. Okay. But, it shows okay. Older cabinets, white appliances, but it really doesn't show much. It does have a pool, though. So, that's probably why they think that they can get the extra money. Okay. So for right now, this one's 17 is a little too small. I'm not going to put that in there. And it's a 3-2. Here's another one, 399, 2210. Okay, 410. Has a fireplace. It is on a pond listed at 399. So let's take a look at this one. And we have the countertops, right? Nice granite countertops, updated cabinets. Okay. So, it is a pretty nice house, right? We have the outside area, and let me just show you that real quick. All right, so that's the outside area. Has a nice view, but still, it's not the saltwater pool and everything else. So we are going to go ahead and use this one. All right. So now I do have my 3 actives that for our purposes right now it'll work. Okay. I would want to go in a little further. This one's 26, 4-2, 3-car garage, really not the same. Okay. This one's sold. Now here's one that's sold for 400, was the list price. It sold at 372. So not only do we want to look at the days on market, but they got a low offer and they accepted it. Okay. For whatever reason. Now, if we just blow this thing up, okay, we'll see inside, again, show's decent. All right. We have nice countertops. So a little bit of upgrades, but as we get to the back, still no view, no pool. That is going to affect it. So we're at 375. Okay. But for right now, it is a 4.2, 1920. It's relatively close on the square footage. And being that it's within 10 years, I'm going to go ahead and use it. Okay. Now, as you do these things, we're going to dial in as close to the comparables as possible. All right. I know I'm being a little bit looser right now just for time purposes. Okay. But we want to make sure that we're getting these properties to be as close as possible. Again, 4.2, 1920. It's active. I'm going to leave this one out for right now. Another active. Let's get to a sold. Here's one that sold 524 was the list price. Sold at 530. So now here's one, right? Here's one. We went from 524. This one actually got a higher offer in 12 days on the market. All right. This one is a 3.2, very similar on the square footage, still within that 10 years. It's only a 3.2. So let's go ahead and open this one up and see what brought that higher price. Now, this one, it didn't have the water view, but it does have a private view. It has a much larger screened-in area. Okay. It's on the preserve. All right. Nice little house. And as you can see, I mean, lots of upgrades. Those are not original cabinets. It has upgraded appliances, right? Can we all agree that this house shows well? So this one here, I mean, this is definitely a good indicator. Same square footage. We're only one bedroom off, so we can make adjustments for that. But we definitely want to get that one in there. And that's going to be something that I'm going to use potentially to justify an appraisal for later. Okay. Again, this one, 1,500, no, not even close. All right. 2,600. This one's expired. All right. 2,400. Right now, I'm going to put it in just because we only have the one expired. Okay. 1,700, too small. And then we have one more sold at 1,890. And I'm going to, and then one more sold at 1983. Now, I'm going to put this in. Normally, I wouldn't use this, but for time, I want to show you how this lays out. Okay. Once we click on the map view here onto the next tab, you'll see, actually, add crap. I rolled on too fast. Damn it. So you'll see I was moving too fast and I cut them out. So I'm just going to select these again. Sold, expired, right? I got to hit add selected. So now I have them in there. Once I hit the mapping feature, okay, now you're going to see in the community where these actually lay. Now, there's two different sections, one in the front, one in the back. Technically, these are in the back section. I would rather have them in the front section because that would be closer, but it's still it's still within the parameters that I can use. All right. Any questions there? Adjustments on this next slide, and every MLS has them. Okay. For right now, do not make adjustments in here. Okay. Until you sit through an appraiser's class, do not make the adjustments. All right. But what I do use this for is to verify that I have all the same information. We have a 4, then a bunch of 3s in here. Might want to adjust for that and try and find more 4 bedrooms. Okay. So on and so forth. The years built, make sure they're within the window, so on and so forth. All concrete block. Make sure I don't see any frame in here if that's what we're comparing it to. Okay. And you'll see over here our low, our medium, our average, and our high. Does that make sense so far? Pricing. Okay. Now with this, if I have not been in the house, I never fill out the list price. I want to make sure I'm going to try and get as close as possible. I've already asked a lot of questions. What have you done? Right. But like I told you before, not too long ago, I went on a listing appointment, and before I got there, she said, "Oh, I just updated both of my bathrooms, renovated them." And when I got there, her version of a renovation was painting the walls, and she put wood trim around the mirrors because it got those black marks. Folks, that is not a renovation. Okay, just so we're clear, that is not a renovation. Any questions there? So once we're done with that, like I said, I'm going to make my adjustments when I'm on site. If I can't make the adjustments on site, maybe there's something that is too unique. All right, I'm going to tell them I need to come back, but I'm going to try and do it while I'm there. Okay, finish. From here, I'm going to go ahead and view my CMA. It will take, it'll generate. Now, you'll see we ran through this in 20 minutes, and obviously I was moving a little bit fast. So the initial ones might take you a little bit longer, but as you get going with them, they will get easier and easier for you. Make sense? Now, I wanted to get into this because I realized that some people, the mechanics of it are struggling. Okay. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we ran through this real fast. Now we're going to go into, what does this look like? Now I use this one here, and you'll saw my pre-filled, sheets. When I do it this way, all right, you'll see that I have, the nice cover sheet. I would have my picture here. I've addressed it to the property. Okay. And exclusively for my test seller, which, is was the name I put in. Okay. Prepared on, it's the date. Now, these are great. I save these. Have been listing appointments when I go on a listing appointment and it turns out that they are not ready to sell. And I won't actually list the property until a year or maybe, 2 years later. Right. But I want to make sure I have in my notes what I discussed with them at the time. So this is a great indicator of what was happening. It's a snapshot in time. Okay. Because will the market change 2 years from now? 100%. Absolutely. Okay. So once we do that, you'll see as we get down the summary of comparables. I like this because it lists the actives, expireds, and solds. So I can go over this and it puts them in line, right? Here's our subject property, 42-2153, and then it lists the other active properties. Now, guys and girls, if you have a ton of properties in that area and everything, it's a cookie cutter, it's a DR Horton, Lennar, and we're at that 7-year mark and everybody's been selling, okay, and you have 5 or 6 active listings and 12 sold listings, and they're all exactly the same floor plan, it's fine if you put them in there. More information is not going to hurt you, but we would like to have at least 3 of each. Now, here soon, I suspect that you'll see more expired listings. But right now, in a lot of areas, we won't have as many. So you might not have, any, maybe 1 or 2, if any, expired listings. But this is the way I would like to see it. Okay. Make sense? Now, once we do that, you'll see the same information, the low, median, average, and high. Remember, we saw that. All right. And you'll see 7 total properties. Once we get into the meat and the potatoes, the reason why I like this one is, and there's a bunch of different ways to do it, folks. So there may be other, scenarios where I like this because it takes my subject property down the left side, and then I can line by line go with my clients as to what is different. Okay. Oh, I put Shores, it's landing. But see the years, the square footage, concrete block, right? Everything is side by side. All right. Even down to the days on market, right? Price per square foot. Okay. definitely stuff, stuff that we want to pay attention to. Okay. Now you'll hear me say a lot of times, price per square foot, or no square foot is created equal, and it's not. However, if we're in a cookie cutter community like this one was built by Adams Homes, they're all relatively the same. So in this case, when I'm comparing it to these homes, the square footage, price per square foot does come into play. Make sense? So ultimately, you'll see the whole thing. It'll lay it all out. And I want you, and I'll send you one that I spent a little more time on. Okay. But I want you to get involved in this. And when you do it this way, you are going to learn your property a lot better. There's some programs out there that will auto generate these reports. But if you're trusting those reports, like RPR is a great tool. But if you're going with the automated report and that's what you're printing for your client and that's what you're setting as your list price, you're missing the mark, right? That is based off of, just the public data, right? I wouldn't go and list a price based off of his estimate, correct? Would anybody use his estimate for a listing? No, it doesn't make sense, okay? So we want to make sure that we get this stuff out there. And when I show up with this, now you can do it how you want. You can staple this together. You can put it into a folder. We have a binding machine in the office if you want to bind it and make it look a little bit neater. But you'll see, here's the minimum maximums, right? 2 and 4. We want to make it look presentable. Okay. Going into a house after another agent and the only thing that's there is a 1-page quick CMA. That's not, I know I got that agent beat, right? Because it's about providing your value. So whether you're representing buyers or sellers, a big part of our value is being able to guide our people down the road onto, what is a proper offer or what is a proper listing price. Make sense? Now on this, it should also show, it shows the sold price in here too. Don't know why I don't know, maybe because it doesn't apply to any of the properties here. But usually it would show you if there was a concession as well. So, watch for that stuff because that will affect your CMAs and your net sheets. Okay. And then after this is something that you leave with your clients, right? It's a tangible item of value that if you don't get it signed right there, they have your information, and you'll see, you saw on the front, it's branded with my name, my phone number, right? So every time they look at it, they're seeing my information. Make sense? Any questions on this? Now, I wanted to get through this thing, and I knew we kind of ran through it fast, okay? But, pricing, negotiations, terms, right? All this stuff comes into play. This is one piece of a really big puzzle. All right. Some of you guys have already done this. For those of you that have not done a CMA or not run this drill with me, I'm going to give you a challenge. And if you've already done it and you want to do it as well, I'm fine with that. For everyone that's here that has not done one of these with me, I'm going to challenge you to do a CMA on preferably the home that you live in. Now, we're not going to share it out with everybody unless you want to. But at this point, you all should know your personal home very well.
Why are you trying to make us cry? I might cry doing mine.
But you have, you know your house, right?
I do. I'm just teasing.
Yeah. Now, in the event, if you live in an apartment that is an apartment building, not a condo, but an apartment. It's going to be very hard to do this. So in that case, if you live in an apartment, go ahead and pick a friend's house, all right, that you know well. All right. And I have everybody on my screen, so I know who's here. So send me a CMA on your property, and then we're going to go over it. I want to see how close you guys can get. Try and use similar properties, okay, as close as you can get. You want to stay within 10 years plus or minus 200 square feet plus or minus, okay? And ultimately, you know, within, if you can do it in the same neighborhood, great. If not, try and stay within a mile. Okay? 3 actives, 3 expireds, and 3 solds. Okay? This is one of those things that the more you do it, the better you will get. Can everybody commit to that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right, cool. So let's get that in. We'll go over that. I'll review it. I'll send it back with some notes. Okay. And then we go from there. All right. Got to get the mechanicals down. Then you start to get into the values. The one thing is, like I said, in the, when we're filling out the proposed listing price, okay, I don't put anything in there, and I suggest you don't. But in the email, when you send it to me, send me what your proposed list price would be for that particular property. All right. And I'm not trying to judge anybody on, you know, the size or anything of their home. It's just, you know, that property, and it's a good place to start. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Anybody have any thoughts on this before we cut out of here? Okay. I know we kind of ran fast, but I hope this stuff helps. And I know with everything coming, we need to be at the front to have our value locked on. I do a solid CMA when I'm presenting it to a client. I am very confident in what I tell them. Okay. It's an opinion of value though. So you're going to have to deal with their opinion as well. And that's where the objections will come, and we'll get into that next week. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's get going. Daniel, get that listing completed so we can get that thing signed and on the market.
Yep.
Oh, Carrie, you have your hand up?
I didn't mean to do that.
Okay.
I was just testing it. I was trying to do a thumbs up and I hit the wrong button.
All right. No worries at all. So, guys, it is Tuesday night, right? Hopefully you guys are all having a productive week so far. We had a nice little lunch and learn with DR Horton today. Get out there. While you're doing these things, put it on your schedule. If you have not, gotten into your local builders, please get out and get to know what your local builders are providing. You'll see how they present houses. A lot of them have very locked on sales presentations, and it's a good way to get in and see how they present these houses. Okay. All right, folks, let's roll. And if you need anything, please let me know.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Absolutely. See you
Thank
here in a
you.
little
Have a
bit.
great night.